Yo, 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 people and patrons of the night, it is your boy, the Horrorlander, and me wearing green is very important for this video. Why? Because we are going to be ranking all of the Monster Blood stories. That's right, I've been through all of the original Monster Blood stories. And why is the red in tandem important? Well, it's because I wear this hat all the time, so there's not really any significance. But to bullshit, the reason why the red is important is because all I see is red when it comes to talking about the Monster Blood stories, because they all suck, quite frankly. This is one of the worst franchises in all of Goosebumps. It is notoriously trashed on because people know that this thing is bad, this thing is not good, that a lot of the books are going to end up being disappointments and waste of your time. So I knew that going forward. But after completing it all, I'm extremely happy, and I wanted to get it out of the way because why would I look forward to something that's always going to be bad? So yeah, a little bit accomplished about getting through these. There are a few stories in here that I do think are like decent or good, and the rest of them are just going to be me kind of trashing them. But to set some guidelines, I'm going to be talking about all the original Monster Blood stories. So this means I'm going to be talking about all 4 of the books from the OG 62. I'm going to be talking about the book from Horrorland. I'm going to be talking about the book from Slappy World. I'm going to be talking about the TV original episode, More Monster Blood. And then I'm going to be talking about the Disney Plus interpretation of Monster Blood. Why is that? Because there is the Monster Blood episode. I like that one, but it's an adaptation of the first book. Yes, there's changes, but the general structure is of that first book. Same applies to Maddie Gonzalez's graphic novel adaptation. There are changes for the better, but it is still an adaptation of that first book and first story. That one would be like my second favorite thing to come out of the Monster Blood franchise. And then there's the TV Presents book, which I've not read because, yes, I've heard good things about it. I heard you got to get to it. But the TV Presents books are meant to be in case you missed the episode back when it was broadcasting on cable. You could pick up these books and kind of have the episode in a book format with you kind of at all times. So that's kind of the purpose for it. I'm going to leave it out of here. So those are the guidelines. And there is an original short story, which I did read, which comes from a collection called The Time We Ran Away. But the short story is only 4 pages, so not really worth talking anything about because it's super short, it's super to the point. It's not going to be fair to put it up against the books. But if we're being, honest with each other, and we should, that short story somehow still beats out the bottom 4 books on my list. That's right, the bottom 4 stories on my list, this thing is still beating out. So that says a lot about the franchise. That's all you really need to know. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this ranking. And I know I have not reviewed a lot of these books individually. I'll still be doing individual rankings. So I'll try not to go too much in depth about each book. Otherwise, you guys will be here for like 40 minutes. And we shouldn't spend that much time on Monster Blood. So these will be kind of my general thoughts, why I think the way I do. And of course, common sense. This is my ranking. This is my list. This is all my opinion. If you like something that I don't more than I do, that's fine. If you dislike something more than I do, that's fine. It's going to happen. But I got to be honest to myself. I got to be honest with the ranking. And it's not going to help if I just repeat a lot of the points to you people when I don't feel that way with the general community. So let's get into the Monster Blood. So number 8 on my list, the very bottom, is the Monster Blood 2 book. That's right. This is going to shock some people in the general community. You'll be like, dude, I really like the Monster Blood 2 book. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I hate this thing for a multitude of reasons. This book, first of all, kicked off the shit sequel chain that we got involving the Monster Blood franchise. This is the reason for it, and all those qualities are apparent in this book, which is why I bring it up. All the characters in this book take a supreme nosedive to what we saw in the first book, and you get some shitty new characters introduced. First of all, Evan. Evan in the first book, people say is kind of whiny. I didn't really find him that whiny compared to what some other people found because I felt like his situation was more justified. Here in the second book, the sequel, it opens up with him in a classroom sleeping. The teacher gets mad at him appropriately, and he ends up basically bitching at his teacher, getting angry, whining like a baby, complaining even though he's 100% in the fault for sleeping in class. He has some intrusive thoughts about how he wants to grab Cuddles and like launch him out the window and all these things. Just wants to do animal abuse because he's a pissy little kid. And he's just really whiny and really annoying throughout this entire book. Andy is as dumb as a bag of fucking bricks. I mean, she is constantly the reason why Monster Blood keeps getting brought back. You would think that any person with a mind that's beyond what was, 100,000 years ago with Homo sapiens sapien would think that let's not open up the Monster Blood because of all the PTSD we have from it. And this little bitch constantly keeps up opening up the damn cans. Like, bruh, if you let off fireworks in your garage, you would think not to do it 4 more times in a row. She don't think properly. There's probably a Monster Blood 1.5 where the bitch got hit by a truck and she gets fucking dementia. That's probably what happens. Or amnesia, whatever you call it. She probably got fucking amnesia. But yeah, terrible characters. Conan gets introduced. He's a stereotypical shove you in a locker, just annoying bully. The plot's all over the place. It's just introducing you to all these trash characters. Then you get to them trying to break into Conan's house to steal back the Monster Blood, which they're not supposed to open, but they decided to open it for shits and giggles. And then Cuddles gets a little bit of the Monster Blood and grows into that hamster you see on the cover. But not really, because the cover and the merchandise, because Cuddles is a mascot figure, he's very popular as a Goosebumps villain. The cover shows him as this giant killer monster hamster, like a kaiju hamster. The merchandise for clothing shows you as that, but it shows you him as a giant killer hamster. He's not a giant killer hamster in the book. He's just a giant hamster. If you look at the merchandise, you're going to think that Cuddles is something like Season 1, Episode 2, I believe, of the Ben 10 show when Dr. Animal got into the pet store. This was that hamster.
Oh man, what kind of pet food are they selling around here?
But in the book, he's just kind of like a hamster minding his business. When the students are surrounding him, he's not attacking kids. He's not trying to eat kids. He's not trying to destroy anything. He's just acting like a normal hamster, It's just a giant hamster, not a giant killer hamster. So there's not really a big threat from him. And yeah, the book is just overall pretty goddamn shit. Number 7 on my list, second to last, goes to Monster Blood 3, the book. Now, Monster Blood 3, the book, introduces you to one of the worst characters in all of the entire Goosebumps IP. He's only bested by Micah from Revenge or Us. This is Kermit. Kermit appears in Monster Blood 3 and 4. Kermit is an absolute little snitch-ass, tattle-ass fucking little shit. He's always messing with Evan. I almost forgot the little other shit's name. He's always messing with Evan. He's always causing trouble. He's always snitching to his mom, getting Evan in trouble. He's just constantly trying to test stuff on the dog and just be an idiot. He's like Dexter, but if Dexter was not charming or funny. He's just Dexter, but fucking annoying as hell version of Dexter. It's almost like if you took Dexter and Dee Dee and made a fusion dance. That's how shitty Kermit is, except he's not funny. The rest of the book is just literally Evan and Kermit and Conan, who's involved as well. He comes back getting into trouble with each other. And I believe that from what I remember, because it's been a while, I think Kermit messes with the Monster Blood and it ends up making Evan turn into a giant. Now, the reason why this is above Monster Blood 2 is because, yes, some people say, oh, Evan turned giant again. But to be fair, in the Monster Blood 2 book, he became like Shaq size, like 7-8 feet tall, to deal with Cuddles the way he did. But in this book, he turns into like 30 feet tall, like an actual giant. He's above the buildings. And I think you have police officers and news reporters and a bunch of people who are trying to hunt him down. And I thought that all the, kaiju Evan stuff was pretty fun. I think even the GYG, like Beware the Purple Peanut Butter, had a similar type of storyline about a giant person you become and you get chased by police and helicopters and all this stuff that comes from what happens in Monster Blood 3. So that stuff I did find a bit enjoyable, but the rest of it is extremely forgettable, extremely boring, extremely annoying, and it does introduce Kermit, who's one of the worst characters in the entire series. So yeah, that is second to last, number 7 on my list, Monster Blood 3, the book. Number 6 on my list goes to Goosebumps Horrorland Monster Blood for Breakfast. There are some people who enjoy this book because they think that the main character is very charming, and it is. With Goosebumps Horrorland Monster Blood for Breakfast, Evan in the cast does not return. It's a brand new set of characters. The character in the book, the main character, is a Chad. Okay, he's kind of a Giga Chad. Good at sports, good with science, very charming, very nice. But he gets shat on and dunked on the entire book in a Revenge on Us, Wade to Micah kind of format, where everything keeps going wrong for him the entire book. There's no real comeuppance until like the very, very last page, which is like, like you still have to bear through the entire story just to get to that point. There is a neighbor or friend called Worm, and Worm is shitty, just like Kermit. Worm is doing a lot of stuff, like he gets this like fart can off the internet and opens it up while the main character and his sister are eating, and they basically almost vomit. He throws like a rock at a stop sign and it ricochets and goes through one of their teachers or principals like car window when he's driving by, and he immediately runs away and says the main character did it, and then gets him into trouble, almost gets him suspended a bunch, which makes the main character justifiably very angry because he's on sports teams, he's a good student, he can't afford to keep getting in trouble. And the plot of this entire book is all over the place, really messy and just really stupid. Worm orders monster blood off the dark web. I'm not making that up. He orders monster blood off the dark web. Yes, this is a Mr. Nightmare 3 Disturbing True Deep Web Horror Short Stories, or horror stories, whatever you call those videos. That is what this is, okay? He orders monster blood off the deep web and gets a virus on the laptop, which you can't even unplug the computer or take out the battery. The virus is still going, and it's like a pop-up ad that's saying, "Monster blood is back. Monster blood is back." What relevance does that have to the story? You tell me. You might have read the book, you might have not read the book. If you've not read the book and you don't know the relevance, guess what? I read the book and I still don't fucking know the relevance. That's how messy the plot is. And of course, there's a moment where monster blood gets ingested by the main character. He's at a swim meet and he becomes like 7, 8 feet, 9 feet tall. And all of his friends are like dapping him up and saluting him on how he's doing during that swim meet. But they don't notice that he's a lot larger than he was. And it's explained by Stein in the story that because he's in a pool in the deep end and he's standing, they can't see how big he is. Yeah, but if a dude who was like 5'6" or whatever, all of a sudden becomes the size of Shaquille O'Neal, I think you'll notice that his hands and his frame and everything that you're touching him up on and dapping him up and tapping him on the shoulder, everything's a little bigger, right? You would think so. And he sneaks into the girls' locker room to dry him off because monster blood's like a chia pet. When it gets water, it starts growing. A lot of weird, just stupid stuff in this book. There's hooded figures chasing after the main character, and you find out that they have nothing to do with monster blood. It's something else in the book. Really all over the place, really messy, and it's very upsetting because of the fact that he brought in a cool character. He had the ability to basically reset the template with not having to bring back the same shitty characters from the original 62 books, and yet he still ends up making a bad, really stupid, really messy plot where the one good character that we get pretty much in the franchise, one that you could genuinely root for, is getting shat on the entire book in Revenge on Us style. Holy crap. This is a bad book, but it is a little bit better because, yes, the main character is at least a little bit likable, and there is a scene where monster blood leaps out at a character and starts attacking them, and it's almost like the Goosebumps Gold cover with the Haunted Mask Lives, where he's like tearing off the monster blood and trying to make sure he doesn't get strangled and eaten by the thing. So those things are a little bit better and cooler, and there is that very last page of comeuppance, but nonetheless, from a objective standpoint, and objective I mean my subjective trying to be fair standpoint, it's still a really bad book. So yeah, that is where it's placed on this list. Number 5 on my list goes to Monster Blood 4. This is going to shock people too. A lot of people really, really hate this book, and I partially get why. Because Monster Blood 4 has the same characters returning again for another time in the row. It's the last book of the OG 62. We could have had Cry of the Cat be the last book in the original series, but it ended up being the opener to Series 2000. But here's why this book gets a little bit more grace. Yes, Kermit is here, Conan is here, Andy's here, Evan's here being shitty, and it has nothing to do with Monster Blood. That being said, I think that those aqua leeches are still pretty fun villains. All right, it's a Gremlins spinoff, ripoff, whatever you call it. Um, but these are hydro water sucking leeches. So it's basically a swarm enemy. It's almost like a pseudo alien takeover. And these leeches do pose a threat. I mean, if you drain all the water out of the earth, it's going to be a problem. And understand that humans' bodies, our bodies, are 60-70% water. So if these leeches get hooked to you and start draining all the water and moisture out of your body, you're going to look like a mummified husk and be dead or damn near dead. So that is an effective threat. I'm not going to lie to you. I like the fact that they have to deal with the swarm enemy. They don't really know what to do. Yes, the whole twist involving the government's involvement with it is stupid. I get it. That's why it's still, on a technical level, a bad book. But I enjoy the threat. I enjoy its presence. The cover is accurate. The swarm enemy is more fun, and I think that they do pose more of a threat than you usually get with the other Monster Blood gimmicks as henceforth in this thing. And I think that this book, as opposed to being all over the place and just stupid stuff, you at least have a focused goal on taking down these aquatic slugs. Do I think it should have been called Monster Blood? No, it should have been called maybe like Attack of the Aqua Leeches or something. Or maybe that these aliens, or not aliens, but these creatures in the book maybe were aliens and monster blood is the byproduct of the aliens. Let's say that some alien species, these slugs, had visited Earth before, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or some shit. They lived some shit. They came, they harvested monster blood, gave it to some company that was working with them, some occult stuff, selling off that monster blood or whatever you could do. You could do that, or Sarah Beth, got into contact with these aliens, and because they're slugs, they produce slime. That slime ends up being monster blood, and now they're coming back. You could have done something better with that. It was not done, but that being said, I still enjoyed this one more than the previous entries, so that's why it is where it is on the list. Number 4 on my list goes to Disney Plus for their version of Monster Blood. Now, this one, understandably, okay, this is probably the best just like action that we get involving Monster Blood. Monster Blood in the Disney Plus episode was very good. The whole apartment attack scene, the whole subway train attack scene, the elevator scene, they're all really great scenes, and that's what puts it forward. I think that it's decent for that regard as an episode because you get all those good scenes with Monster Blood. Very much acts like a slimy blob kind of enemy. And it does pose a genuine threat. That's why it is above all the other ones. But keep in mind that you still have to factor in the fact that it is kombucha come to life, which is really fucking stupid. I mean, you can say what you want about the aquatic leeches and government weapon, but living kombucha is arguably even worse. I would say that is much stupider than aquatic leeches who actually pose a threat. It's supposed to be some type of weapon, pseudo alien thing. Here it's just living kombucha. With some alien touch because of the subplot or general plot of the show. The main character, I forgot what her name, Cece or whatever, forgot her name. She's super annoying. She's just your typical college-age girl who just yaps, just says nothing, doesn't really have any personality, just tries being hip and is an NPC. So not really rootable in any regard. I don't like that aspect of her character. So she's not very investable. Her whole thing is just trying to go to college and be prestigious. So yeah, the other parts of the episode take away from it, but the actual Monster Blood stuff is good, which is why it is where it is on the list. So that's number 4. Now we're getting to the top 3. Number 3 goes to the Slappy World book, Monster Blood is Back. This one is, I was going to say I used to put it as okay, but thinking back on it since I read this one the most recently, it is a decent book. I'd give it a decent. Because I like a majority of this book. A majority of this book is essentially about these 2 girls who are trying to get on a cooking show. It's like Food Network. It's like Master Chef or any of those other Food Network shows where you have teams competing against each other. You get mystery ingredients. They're trying to get on television, get popular, and they think that they're good cooks. There's some on-the-nose comedy throughout the whole thing. But when they're on the way to the TV studio for auditions one time, they happen to see this pop-up toy store. And because the main character has a little brother whose birthday's coming up, she thinks that she can go ahead and get him some gifts. So she goes in there, and they're very macabre, weird types of toys. Almost reminds you of Haunting Hours, Don't Think About It, the movie, with that pop-up shop. Kind of a similar type of vibe. And when they get in there, they end up finding 2 cans of monster blood and bringing it with them. And then they open them, and then monster blood starts attacking them. You know, the two main character. Well, the main character, the duo protagonist, was her best friend involved throughout the book, and the little brother starts attacking them. They have some problems involving Food Network's show because they have some rival kids who are cheaters and very pretentious and very mean who keep cheating them out of winning rounds. So they decide they're going to use monster blood for a little bit of revenge. And then it ends up going bad. And the climax to this book, with the actual action, is my favorite stuff that I've seen out of Monster Blood, pretty much. I love the, at least book-wise, this is my favorite stuff I've seen out of the books. Really good action. Again, reminds you of what kind of the Disney Plus show was going for. That real type of blob threat coming from the monster blood. It's really fun. It like rampages through the Food Network show, starts attacking people, dragging them inside of it. Honestly, this might be my favorite visual depiction described of what monster blood can do. Outside of like the Maddie Gonzalez one scene involving what it did to those 2 kids. But yeah, this is a really cool action, really good stuff. There's a twist involving some characters who come in to try to help out, and what they do is pretty rad, pretty cool. But the biggest problem about this book is, one, it's extremely kind of all over the place in terms of there's unconnected storylines, okay? It's not like Monster Blood meets the Food Network. No, it's like Monster Blood exists and the Food Network exists. They don't really coexist and interweave with each other to make a cool story. They kind of are 2 separate things. There's, again, your typical type of corny writing or cheesy writing involving some of the characters. So that stuff's going to come in. But there's a really bad last chapter in this entire book. I mean, it is such a horrible ending. Something happened in the book, which, funny enough, Stein does a hezzy. He does a little fake out on your ass, all right? He's like, oh, this is actually where the story's going to go. And I was like, dude, please do not. And then he's like, nah, I'm just playing, bro. That's not happening. I'm like, okay, well, let's lock back in. And the last chapter said, nah, that's actually what happened. I was like, bro, I send a Semtex grenade to your apartment, bro. Why the fuck did you have to write that last chapter, bro? This could have gotten a lot of praise for me. This could have been one of the best Monster Blood books out there. And instead, he had to throw in that ending. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not the best Monster Blood book or story out there because that ending really shits the bed. One of the worst endings in all of Goosebumps. That's why it's number 3. Number 2 goes to the original Monster Blood book. This one is decent. It's pretty good. I liked it. Yes, it's a slow burn, but I thought the writing went really smooth. I thought the characters were fine. I liked the interactions between Evan and Andy. It felt natural when I was reading it at the time. I like the things that the Monster Blood can do involving the dog, involving the bathtub, involving rampaging around the suburb and attacking certain people, and then that reveal. I just feel like everything was a slow burn, and then at the end, it rushed in too many ideas. If it was like maybe 10 or 15 more pages, this would have been flat out probably a good book. I genuinely think so. If it just had a few more pages to kind of settle everything in. But overall, I think the story is high, decent, if not pretty good. So yeah, the first Monster Blood book in terms of the books is my favorite. But there is one story that is above it. And if you can't guess what it is, I think you can piece together, but I'm going to say it right now. Number 1 on my list is More Monster Blood, the TV original episode. Now, I would have really loved if Monster Blood was treated like the Stephen King short story, The Raft, which is also in Creepshow 2, the movie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's some clips of The Raft.
It hurts!
I would have loved a creature feature. Of course, you can't go to the level of gore and horror that the Creepshow stuff can do because it's adult horror, but you could tone it back. But that creature feature, hunting them down, eating them, and doing all that stuff, that's what I like about these type of slime entities. And I would have loved something like that, what was done in The Raft, to be done, adjusted for kids' horror and scholastic for Monster Blood. But the closest that we got to that was the More Monster Blood episode, where it is Monster Blood on a plane, because this thing in this episode All the characters, all the kids are decent. They're all good actors. There's not really any problem. Conan's actually likable. The other characters are pretty cool. Evan's pretty rootable in the episode, and this episode particularly as well. And Monster Blood on a Plane. It's flat out a creature feature. It is hunting down. It is eating people. It's hiding in the airplane luggage shaft and attacking employees. A dude in the bathroom puts it on his face while he's washing his face without knowing, and it eats them. People are getting sucked under the airplane seats and eaten by this thing. And you got to understand, if you don't deal with Monster Blood, either you deal with it or the plane crashes. You can't land the plane because you're high up in the air. No one's going to believe you because it's so ridiculous, but then people start going missing and you have to treat it as ridiculous. Particularly the bathroom scene when the guy doesn't leave and the hostess is like, okay, something is strange going on. And you can jump out the plane too and just plummet and die, or maybe get out with a few parachuted people. Really high stakes, really good action, really fun stuff. And this is definitely my favorite original Monster Blood story out there. And it's a TV original. Stein had no involvement with this thing. It was all thanks to Dan Angel, Billy Brown, and all the guys who are involved with writing that show. I forget who specifically wrote this one, but the show writers are the ones who did a good job with this thing. So this is the best Monster Blood story, and if you've not watched this episode, I would be surprised, but it's definitely one of the most underrated episodes and overlooked episodes. People don't talk about the more Monster Blood episode, but they should, because it's worth it, and you definitely need to give it the love and respect that it deserves. And that is ranking all the Monster Blood original stories. If you guys like this video, let me know down below. You can also show it by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, and comment down below. What's your ranking of the Monster Blood books? What do you agree with me? What do you disagree with me? And stay tuned for the next time. Deuces.